Hey there, home learners. It's good to see you again. We are back with more poetry for our poetry competition. Today's poem is Y29 for P.5 girls, if you're doing the Hong Kong Speech Festival, and if not, we can still learn a really nice poem. So the title of today's poem is called Class Discussion. We're going to go through this poem a couple times. First, I'll read it with you nice and slow so we can hear those words clearly. Then we'll read it a little faster for some fluency, and finally we'll figure out best ways we can perform it. So come along and let's take a look at the poem together. We'll start with the title here, Class Discussion. Now, a discussion is when you talk about different ideas with your friends in the school. By Gervase Phinn. Okay, let's go to the first part. You see there's a little quote there? It means that somebody's talking in this part. In the class discussion, Jane, you hardly said a word. We all aired our opinions, but from you we rarely heard. All right, this is a strange word here, aired our opinions. A lot of mouth there. Aired is to talk a lot about, to bring up opinions or what we think. So rarely heard, which means that Jane was not talking very much. Let's go to the next part. You sat and stared in silence, surrounded by the chatter. So there's a lot of S words here. Sat, stared, silence, surrounded. Be careful. Now tell me, Jane, and please be plain. Is there anything the matter? To be plain means to tell me clearly. Chatter, lots of talking. All right, so I think this is the teacher talking and asking Jane about why she's so quiet in the class discussion. I can almost see that happening in my head, like a picture. Let's go down here. Now, we don't have the quotes, so now we're just doing the narration. Jane looked up, and then she spoke. Her voice was clear and low. And now we have these quotes again, so this is Jane talking. There are many people in this world who are rather quiet. You know, quiet. So Jane says it's okay. It's all right to not maybe talk all the time, which I agree. All right, so now we've read it once. You can go back and listen to it again and again and again to get that pronunciation of the words so it's nice and clear. Start slow and get faster and better as you memorize it. Now we'll do it again for some fluency so we can see how words might stick together and if there's any problems. Let's begin. Class Discussion by Gervase Phinn. In the class discussion, Jane, you hardly said a word. We all aired our opinions, but from you we rarely heard. You sat and stared in silence, surrounded by the chatter. Now tell me, Jane, and please be plain, is there anything the matter? Jane looked up, and then she spoke. Her voice was clear and low. There are many people in this world who are rather quiet, you know. All right, so how did that work for you? There's some parts there where you have to move your mouth really fast to get the words out. Now, we understand how to say the words. We get an idea of what the poem is about. Now let's try to figure out how to perform it. Now remember, when you're performing, you're not reading, and you're definitely not singing the words. We want to find a way to tell the story. A couple tips for you. First, start with the title very strong. Come down on discussion. Class discussion. Come down. So it's a strong title. Then wait a minute, and then the author by Gervase Phinn. And again, I come down on his surname, Phinn. And wait, and wait, and wait. Get yourself really nice and ready to start. And then you can say your poem. Use your eyes and your face to tell the story as well as your voice. And you can practice different ways to see what works best for you. I will perform it now just some way I might do it, but I want you to come up with your own voice. That's very important to find out how best for you to perform. Okay, I'll begin. Class Discussion by Gervase Phinn. In the class discussion, Jane, you hardly said a word. We all aired our opinions, but from you we rarely heard. You sat and stared in silence, surrounded by the chatter. Now tell me, Jane, and please be plain, is there anything the matter? Jane looked up, and then she spoke. Her voice was clear and low. There are many people in this world who are rather quiet, you know. All right, so I put some long pauses in there to show the transition between one person talking, a narrator, and the next. I didn't change my voice that much. I don't think you need to in this poem. You don't need to do silly voices. And you want to do it like a conversation. You're telling a story, but not singing a song, so no rhythm. All right, I know you're going to do great, and come on back and we'll do some more poetry together. Till next time, I'll see you. Bye-bye.